we've lost Europe. Europe does not have free speech.
So Pavel Durov has just been arrested in France for failing to censor his encrypted messaging platform Telegram. I think he's got 12 charges. 9 of them, I believe, we'll take a look at the document now. 9 of them, I believe, are conspiracy to. So conspiracy to drug traffic, conspiracy to child traffic. And all this means, if you look past the smoke and mirror, is that he owned a platform where people did this. That's like arresting the CEO of Toyota because ISIS drive Hiluxes. It actually doesn't make any sense. This is just another very obvious ploy by members of the European government to censor free speech. We've seen it in the UK. If you saw my video last week, now we're seeing it in France. It seems like the establishment is very keen on prosecuting people that have a platform. And I believe it's up to people like you and me to stand up against it and, do something about it.
If you don't believe in free speech, it means because you don't trust the people, you don't trust them to figure it out on their own, to have information on which they can base their ideas and their notions and their beliefs.
And their votes.
And that the government has to protect them from dangerous information, from things that might put bad ideas into their heads. And it's very patronizing, but it's also very manipulative.
Bobby Kennedy leads on to a pretty good point here, is that the people who are pro-censorship often disguise it as it's your best interest, it's in your best interest, it's for your protection. You don't know what's misinformation out there, so it's up to us to look after you. You're too silly to make discernments on your own. Don't worry, little slave. We'll make the decisions for you. Instead of allowing speech on all sides and allowing you as the individual to hear side A and hear side B and come up with your own decisions. That's the way to do things. It's the only way to do things. If free speech goes, you might as well sign your life away. Europe's already Orwellian. I don't know how much worse it could get, but they really are trying. I believe we have to stand up and we have to at least fight for free speech, at least fight for each other's rights to say things we disagree with. And fighting doesn't mean taking to the streets and being violent. It just means using your voice in your friendship circles, online if you can. I understand if you don't want to, but just encourage people to be able to say what they want to say. And if it's mean or offensive, so be it. I mean, if people use speech that is mean or offensive, it's up to you as the individual to decide whether you want to engage with those people or not. But you cannot police people's rights to say something.
Said the first step to totalitarianism begins with censorship. It's the first step down that slippery slope in an American classroom. It said the first step to totalitarianism begins with censorship. It's the first step down that slippery slope. And there's no time that we look back in history and say the people who were censoring speech were the good guys. They're always the bad guys because we know that they're the guys who are going to end up cracking the whip on us all and being our overlords.
If you look back at history, the most heinous actions and the most heinous crimes that were committed against innocent people, it always started with taking away their ability to say anything about it. And it's funny that in 2024 we get people who still, knowing the history, want to censor speech. And if you cannot see the government's overreach, if this isn't one of the signs that we're heading to a precipice that we might not be able to get back from, I'm not sure what is. Pavel Durov has committed no crimes other than creating a messaging service that he refused to give to the establishment. There were no backdoors. He hasn't given away your data. Let's take a look at some of the evidence that's floating on X that very clearly shows the difference in treatment between Mark Zuckerberg and Pavel Durov. And I guess it leads you to ask the question, but why?
Mexico's Attorney General is accusing the social media giant and its CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, of enabling child sex abuse and trafficking on its sites. CBS News senior business and technology correspondent Jolene Kent reports on the undercover investigation that used AI.
It was shocking, quite frankly, to see the explosion of sexual interest in these kids almost immediately.
New Mexico Attorney General.
Perhaps the most heinous crime is assault on the innocent. No arrest for Mark Zuckerberg, though. He can land in Paris whenever he wants. The double standards and the hypocrisy is so sickening to me. To see how far we've fallen as a people, as a society, where we are told to reject the evidence of our eyes and ears, like what we just witnessed, we just watched. This is an attorney general who's done this investigation. No arrest for Mark. But this next thing I'm going to show you very clearly shows why Mark hasn't been arrested. In 2021, senior officials from the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our team for months to censor certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire, and expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree. Ultimately, it was our decision whether or not to take content down, and we own our decisions, including COVID-19 related changes we made to our enforcement in the wake of this pressure. There you have it. Mark succumbed to the pressure. He allowed government agencies to infiltrate your platforms, to infiltrate his platforms, and to show you a truth that was perfectly curated. That's why he wasn't arrested. Pavel Durov did not do the same. Pavel Durov, in fact, has been on the FBI's watch list for a while. Every time he lands in the States, he gets accosted by agents asking him questions, asking him if he'll give them a back door to Telegram. And each time he said no. He's been quite consistent in his defense of free speech and freedom of expression. And it's exactly what's ended him in prison. And make no mistake, they will do this to you as well. If you do not conform, if you do not comply, they will attack you and they will throw you in jail. It is time for us as the ordinary citizens to start taking note of these things, and to start being more outspoken, and to start rallying together against oppression. It is the only way forward. And here in Modern Church, I hope this can be a foundation for that. I hope it can be a springboard for our community and for all of us in order to raise the torch and carry it forward into a world that we can be proud of. If you like the video, comment and subscribe. Let me know what else you would like me to react to, and I'll see you in the next one.